Hello and welcome to week 3 where we focus on colour. Colour is the foundation for everything. Everything from paintings to the design of fabrics. And I thought we would start this week by focusing on a few different designers because that's going to be the focus of our as we move out of unit 1 and into unit 2. And I know we're still working on unit 1, but it makes it really interesting if we look at colour together. So the artist John Wells was born in London, later moved to Cornwall. He had relatives, his mum was Cornish. He lived in St Ives and he worked with a great many famous people such as Barbara Hepworth. He also exhibited his works at the Tate Museum here in Cornwall. So the visual that you've got there on the right, there is an image of the great artist himself, John Wells, and this is one of his paintings from 1955, and it's called The Vista. The painting is in, I would say, quite an abstract style. There's lots of muted greens, blacks, and you can see some reds there as well. And his focus in this painting was to articulate the rustic, rugged coastline of Cornwall. And I sort of think you can get the feeling of the rolling hills of Cornwall. He used block colours. He used shapes and layering to be able to articulate what to be able to translate, what he was seeing in this style of painting. The reason that I mentioned John Wells was really because of the two later photographs, and it was to show you how color, paint, and texture can be used to create a fabric print. So if we look at this brand, which is Seasalt Cornwall, they took inspiration from John Wells's painting, and they developed it into this is actually one of their latest collections for 2025. And what they did was they used the starting point being to they develop the colors and the styles, and we talk about the layering and the block coloring, and they use that inspiration to be able to create a sense of what he was feeling when he made his painting. And then what you'll find is designers will once they've found a point of interest, being this painting, they would have created a series of colors, mood boards, color story families, which you can see they've got a color family here. And they would have made some samples, and those samples would have later been translated onto fabric to see what it looks like on the fabric, and and to see if they like the texture and the colors together. And that really, when we're creating color, it all starts with creating a color wheel. So in this image here, and what we're going to do today is we're going to create a color wheel, and on this color wheel, I've labeled the outside of the color wheel, showing the primary colors, and the primary colors are red, blue, and yellow, and they are, like I say, your primary colors. Along with that, we're going to create some secondary colours. And the secondary colours are created when we mix two primary colours together, being red and yellow would make orange, and say blue and yellow would make green. And then along with that, I've also created a block for us to create some tertiary colours. The tertiary colours are one primary colour, which will be next to its neighbouring secondary colour. In that sense, it would be a yellow green or a bluey green or a reddy blue. And what I'd also like you to do is to create a word bank. And the reason that we're going to create this word bank is to help us remember, but also we want to I want you to experience the feelings that creating those colours evokes. So if we think about it, what would the warm colours make you feel like? Would they remind you of? So the warm colours remind me of summer, warm summer nights. Or the cool colours, how do they make you feel? And I'd like you to write that in the word bank and then cut your word bank out and put your word bank in the sketchbook on the same page with the colour wheel. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into the computer room, and we're going to log it. We're going to have a computer session where we can log into the internet. We're going to log into Moodle because Moodle's got a really good fabric book that I've put on there for you. It's got fabric and textile book. And along with creating these colours, you're going to want to match the colours to fabrics, and we're going to want to look at the composition or what the fabric's made of, whether the fabric has a text that has a texture like, say, velvet, or one of the suit fabrics, a wool suit fabric. And it's also about if, are the colours going to work together, and we're going to add those images to our mood board later on. So if we think back to designers, when Sea Salt, the designer, create these fabrics, they'll use the colour theory, they use the colour wheel, create, and that basic colour theory to help them decide on the fabric combinations that would have gone together, in the same way that the artist John Wells would have done the same thing as well. They use it and it creates, as we said, a mood, or it might create a harmony, or they might, when we think about how cool colours make us feel, we're thinking about the time of year, being the warm colours for summer, or the cooler colours, or the autumn colours, the autumn browns, and it's about how it makes us feel. So in this next task, and as we can see on this slide here, I've got two different designers. And what we're going to do is we're going to study these two designers. One designer, Jonathan Wells, one designer, Jonathan Saunders, is a Scottish designer, and he tends to focus on color blocking, and he likes a lot of stitch as well. He really likes focusing on stitch techniques, as you will see when you look at this long coat what he created for one of his collections. And the other designer we're going to focus on is Marimekko. Marimekko is the brand dates back to the 50s, and they tend to focus on pattern. And I'd like you to do some studies on these two designers to learn about the codes of the house. And the codes of the house tend to be the ethos of what the brand stands for. So Sea Salt, really, where they focus on the Cornish coastline, and they also highlight designers down here, and they'll collaborate with quite a lot of companies down here to create their fabrics or other textures that they might make, other textiles that they might make, or other prints. And for our final task, we're going to think back to creating these moods and how it makes us feel, and we're going to create a color story. And what we're going to do is we are going to use images from Pinterest and Google, and we're going to download the images and save them, and then we're going to create and print them off, and you're going to create a color story. So you're going to pick a particular color mood that you like, and we're going to create this color story. So as you can see with this slide here, this color story, it uses fabrics, it uses texture. I've used some fashion images, and what I've done is I've layered the pieces on because I want them to be able to represent each other and be able to match and sort of tell the story that it's cool and it's calming and it's how it makes me feel. And I kind of thought it was very royal as well. And the final thing to bring to your attention is next week, the 27th to the 31st of October, we've got a week's holiday and we will be back on the 3rd of November, which is going to be week 4. And week 4 is going to focus on us we're going to have one-to-ones together, and we're going to have a look through your sketchbook, and we're going to set some goals for how we're going to move forward over the next few weeks. So thank you for watching this, and I'll see you on Monday.